So just a couple weeks ago, I ran my first ever 5K event after training and running marathons over the last 3 years, and it occurred to me during and after that 5K that 5Ks can actually be harder than marathons. And today, I want to talk all about the reasons why. Most people hear 5K and think, oh, that's just a short distance, but what if I told you that 3.1 miles can feel way more brutal than 26.2? I know it sounds crazy, but today I'm breaking down why the 5K is actually harder than the marathon, and if you've ever gone all out in a 5K, you probably already know exactly what I mean. So let's start with the obvious: pace. In the 5K, you're running close to your maximum effort for the entire race. Your heart rate is pegged, your legs are on fire, and there's no time to settle in. Compare that to a marathon where even if you're racing hard, you're running at a pace that's sustainable for hours. It's tough, yes, but it's more about endurance and raw intensity. In the 5K, if you go out too hard in the first kilometer, you don't have time to recover. The margin for error is razor thin. Now, people talk all about the mental wall in the marathon, and it is real, but the 5K has its own version of the wall, and it hits you around the halfway point. At 2 or 3 kilometers in, the discomfort is insane. You know you're barely halfway, and your body's screaming at you to slow down. You start asking, can I even hold this pace? What if I blow up? You don't have 10 miles to adjust or regroup. It's you versus the clock and your own pain tolerance every single second. Now, physiologically, a 5K is mostly aerobic, but it comes with a big anaerobic component, especially near the end. That means you're working with high lactic acid levels, low oxygen, and a burning sensation that just doesn't stop. And unlike the marathon, where pacing and fueling are critical, a 5K is basically a 20-minute red line that's brutal on the lungs, legs, and mind. It's short, yes, but it's a sprint at a distance that's just long enough to make you suffer the whole way. Now, in a marathon, you can have a bad mile or two and still finish strong, but in a 5K, one bad kilometer ruins the whole race. You went out too fast, you're toast, you didn't warm up enough. It shows immediately. There's no time to get into it. You need to be ready to hurt from the gun. There's also this idea that shorter distances mean easier training. That is not true at all. If you want to race a 5K well, you still need high mileage, speed work, VO2 max sessions, and serious attention to pacing. In fact, 5K specific workouts often hurt more because they're shorter, faster, and you recover less between reps. You have to be sharp, explosive, and aerobically strong. Now, I think a lot of runners and non-runners underestimate the 5K because it's over quickly, but I've run both 5Ks and marathons now, and I can tell you I collapsed at the finish in the 5K just as much as I collapsed at the finish in the marathon. I've been more sore from a 5K than from a 20-miler run on the weekends. A hard 5K leaves nothing in the tank. That deserves respect. So at this point, I know I've talked a lot about just how hard a 5K is, and I try not to get too sciencey with anything that I talk about on this channel because I am just somebody trying to stumble through training and get a little bit faster day by day. But I thought this would be a good point for me to share with you some of the things that I've read, some of the things that I believe in, some of the things that I've picked up when it comes to exactly why a 5K might actually hurt as much as it does. From the gun, your body taps into both the aerobic and anaerobic energy systems. That aerobic system, this is the primary fuel source. Even in a 5K, it uses oxygen to burn carbohydrates and fats for energy. Now, anaerobic glycolysis, because you're running near your VO2 max, your body also breaks down glucose without oxygen, creating lactate as a byproduct. The challenge is you're producing lactate faster than you can clear it, so it accumulates in your blood, leading to that familiar burning sensation in your legs. Also, in that all-out 5K, you're operating at or very near your VO2 max, the maximum amount of oxygen your body can use per minute. Your heart rate is pumping at nearly maximum capacity. Think 90 to 100% of max heart rate. Breathing becomes rapid and deep to keep up with oxygen demand. Your muscles extract as much oxygen as they can to keep contracting at high speeds. This is why the race feels like you're gasping for air from the first kilometer. Your cardiovascular system is maxed out. So as your anaerobic metabolism kicks in, the lactate builds up along with hydrogen ions, which lowers the pH in your muscles and blood. This leads to acidosis, which interferes with muscle contraction. I hope I'm saying that right. The sensation of burning muscles, a sharp drop in performance if the pace isn't sustainable. And at around 2 or 3 kilometers, like I mentioned earlier, most runners feel this lactate wall. It's not a lack of fuel, but an overload on waste products. So at this point, you're demanding maximum output from your fast twitch type 2 muscle fibers, especially in the final stretch. These fibers are powerful, but fatigue quickly. As they tire, your stride efficiency drops. You might feel your legs get heavy, coordination fades slightly, and your form starts to break down. And we can't forget that central nervous system. Your brain and nervous system are working overtime to keep firing motor units and override the growing fatigue signals. The perception of effort increases sharply as you approach the finish. Your brain even may limit output to prevent damage, a concept known as central fatigue. This is why finishing an all-out 5K feels like a mental and physical battle. And we also can't forget recovery here. Even though the race is short, the physiological toll is high. Muscle damage from repeated high-intensity contractions, depletion of glycogen in fast-twitch fibers, neuromuscular fatigue from max effort, hormonal stress, think increased cortisol and adrenaline. It can take several days to fully recover from a hard 5K, especially if you went out too fast and redlined early. So after running that all-out 5K, I felt like it made sense for me to sit down and just give you this kind of video where I talked about why I think a 5K might actually be a little bit harder than a marathon. And if I got any of that sciencey stuff wrong, again, I am no sort of expert whatsoever. And put in the comment section down below some of the mistakes that I made and what those corrections are to some of that sciencey stuff. Guys, I am here to learn. That's a big reason why I put this channel out there. And if you're not currently subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you like this video and you're interested in watching the race vlog, click on that link right there. Guys, my name is Matt and this has been What Matters to Matt. And ultimately, what matters to me most is my family. I'll see you guys in the next video.
Oh, busy.
I think I can see. I don't know if I'm too good time for you.
It's not bad running.